Well, Asanda Ngoasheng is a political analyst watching all of this. Asanda, good afternoon to you. So it's the ANC's birthday today. It's 112 years old. And here we are watching Fikile Mbalula and Jacob Zuma dominating the news agenda. What does that tell us about our politics?
Well, I think, it shouldn't be surprising that you've got two of the leading politicians who are making headline news in the Secretary General and the former president of the ANC. It's precisely because, Jacob Zuma went on the strategy, which I think is a strategy of mutual destruction, in starting the MK and in uttering and in making the kind of utterances that he has been making. He knew that this was going to put him front and center of the news and put him front and center of conversations. And I mean, for somebody who has mostly been a non-entity since he stopped being president, he really has been seeking this attention, and he's finally got it.
Mbalula is, in a way, dishing the dirt on Zuma, telling everyone the ANC did the wrong thing to protect him. Is that the right strategy for the ANC? It's the Secretary General saying, yes, we did the wrong thing for Zuma.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised that this is happening. I think this is exactly what Jacob Zuma wanted to push the ANC to do, to make pronouncements on him, knowing that those pronouncements on him by their virtue implicate him because he was implicate them because he led the African National Congress. But I think what's important and what we should be focusing on as South Africans is the fact that the ANC is now on a mission to expose each other and out kind of reveal each other. And that's good for South Africa because it means that citizens are going to make decisions about who they think is the best to lead them based on information that, these two parties are willing to be dishing out.
Zuma's new party, I mean, MK, Mkhonto Wesizwe, and as I say, the courts will probably make a decision about that because the ANC is challenging their use of the name. But even with Zuma's backing, he was easily the dominant political figure for a decade, maybe 15 years, I would say. He was probably the dominating political figure of South Africa. But even with Zuma's backing, can it really win significant support in the elections, maybe in KwaZulu-Natal?
Well, I mean, I think, this is not the first time that the ANC has had a breakaway party. We've seen COPE. I mean, before we even get to COPE, there was the Pan-African National Congress, the PIC, and then we've seen COPE, we've seen the EFF, and we've seen various other political parties that are coming from ANC breakaway. So this is not the first time, and I don't think it's going to be the last time. What I do think, though, it's going to do is that as all those other political parties I've mentioned have done, it's going to cut into the already diminishing African National Congress support. And so whereas in 2021, the ANC, received just over 45% of the vote, they're likely to see a decline in that. And they're going to need a coalition partner likely to be able to continue to be the majority government. But even if the ANC loses and is no longer the majority party, because of the size of this political party and the ties and the kind of sentimental value that people hold, for it and its role in the liberation of black people out of apartheid, it's still going to be, even if it loses, it's still going to be the biggest opposition party in South Africa if we are to have, for instance, a coalition government between the much smaller parties, not the Moon Pact, because that's not going to go anywhere. But if we are to have a large, broad-based, multi-party coalition that pushes out the ANC from that, from the 50% plus that it needs to get. And so it's going to be very interesting to see what happens, post 2024 election in terms of who can kind of run to the finish first between the ANC and whatever, coalition party, the coalition partner, I suppose they're going to have to get, or the smaller parties coming together in enough time to build a government. I think also what is going to be a tough hurdle for all of these smaller parties and anybody trying to build a government of national unity or some kind of coalition government is that we've seen coalition governments fail us at a municipal level, and that has made many South Africans very nervous about a coalition government because we haven't seen politicians being able to have the political maturity that's needed in order to make these governments work, in order to make sure that people still receive their services, in order to make sure that people are still at the heart of service delivery and at the heart of politicians' minds, over and above just now fighting for who's going to have power and who's going to make which decisions, as we saw with the DA in various municipalities, with the EFF in various municipalities, and even with COPE in various municipalities messing up quite badly.
Asanda Ngoasheng, a political analyst, thank you very much indeed. Do appreciate the update and the views on that. Well.